What's up everyone, it's Dwarfin87 here to bring you a new video. Today we're going to be looking at a gear leveling guide for Battle for Azeroth. Now if you've recently hit 120 and you have no idea where to go, this is the perfect spot for you. As this guide is going to be catered more for the casual player than the person who plays 2 to 3 hours a day. Now the reason why I kind of set it up this way is because I believe there's quite a few people who are in the same position as I am. That position being that when I started playing World of Warcraft, it was right before the Burning Crusade. At that time I had no kids, no full-time job, I was still in college, so I had plenty of time for me to play. Now that I'm married, I have kids, and I have a full-time job, it's really hard for me to find a good chunk of time for me to be able to play continuously. I'm still able to do at least an hour per day for at least 5 days a week. At least once a week, I'm able to sit for 3 hours straight and do raids or do PvP. But regularly, I do have about 1 hour per day where I can come in and do activities. So this guide is catered for the players who are in a similar situation than I am. Life gets on the way and it's understood, but you still want to enjoy the game. You still want to try to do and maximize your gear and try to get as much item levels as you can every time you play. So the guide is going to be pretty much catered towards your specific position. We're still going to talk about endgame and endgame gear and how to get it. But it's still going to be a little bit more catered towards the player who only has a couple of minutes, maybe 30-40 minutes a day, and how to get your item level to where you need to get to start going in heroics, start joining LFR, start raiding. So without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so you recently hit 120 and you're trying to figure out exactly what to do to get the best gear out there. In order for you to start gearing up your freshly hit 120, I would suggest you start doing World Quests. The minute you have access to World Quests, all you have to do is pop open your map, look at the pieces of gear that are available. I like how World Quests were set up in Battle for Azeroth because you're able to decide exactly what you want to look at. For example, if you want to look at your emissary quest, you can do that. You want to look at loot, Azerite, war resources, or items, it will allow you to kind of dictate exactly where you want to take a look at first. So for our specific guide, we're going to be looking at loot, and in there you're going to get a good description of the area where you're going to be looking at. For example, if you're looking at Sun Valley, if you're looking at Tigard Sound or Drustbar, you can see what items are available in this zone, and you'll be able to specifically compare it by clicking Shift, what items you currently have and what items you should be kind of making a priority. So for example, if I was coming in today and I have limited time, I could only pick 2 or 3 items, I would prioritize getting the Shadow of Corlane because it's the only piece of armor out there that is actually going to level me. Now I am kind of more towards the upper part of the limit here in the World Quest, so my item levels are not going to have a big discrepancy. But I can still find a good piece here and there where I will be able to maximize my time. If I only have 30 minutes to play today, I will definitely shoot for this item. If you want to know exactly where it's located, just click on the specific zone and see if it's there. If it's not there, move on to the next part. And as you can see, it is going to be in Darksbar. So let me back up and click Darksbar, and there it is. Now you can see exactly where it is, where you need to go, where you need to fly to get to it, and then from there you can just start picking up those item levels. One thing that has allowed me to maximize my time while I'm doing World Quest is the app. If you haven't done so yet, I would strongly suggest you download the WoW Companion app. It will allow you to look at the World Quests that are currently available for your character, and you will be able to find out before you log in what specific places you need to go to so you can link your quest and maximize your time. Aside from doing World Quests, you can definitely hit the rares in the areas that you haven't killed yet. Now rares can drop a variety of things. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to drop equipment, so I would be very careful when you're looking at your time. I would prioritize World Quests first, and if you have time left, I would definitely hit rares. Once again, keep in mind the rares do not guarantee that you're gonna get an item piece, but they do scale with your level. So if you kill a rare at the beginning of your leveling process, it might drop a 285 item level, and if you kill a rare towards the end of your gearing process, it might drop a 320 depending exactly where you are. So I would suggest that you leave rares towards like a last minute resource because once again, World Quest will eventually cap, and you won't be able to get any more item levels from World Quest. Rares will continue to scale with your item level, so I would suggest, even though it's a good source for equipment, it is not guaranteed. The next thing we want to be looking at is dungeons. Even though you might not be able to do heroic dungeons yet, you're still going to be able to get gear from any of the dungeons available through Battle for Azeroth. Dungeon loot at a normal level starts at 310. The minimum requirement for you to enter heroics is 305. Any loot that you pick up from a normal dungeon will automatically place you above that minimum requirement. Depending on your class and your role, it might make sense for you to queue into dungeons depending on the time that you have available. I found that in my server, sometimes when I queue into dungeons, it's a 10-minute wait. Sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 45. So if I have an hour to play, I'm probably not going to be queuing into dungeons unless the queue time is pretty low. Same thing that with rares. A dungeon does not guarantee that you're going to get an armor piece, but it's a good chance for you to go in there, test your skill, see where you are with DPS, see how you're placing against other classes. See where you are with your tanking, and if you're healing, you probably want to be doing dungeons a little bit more. Your queue times are probably going to be a little bit less, and the competition for loot is going to be a lot less as well. Alright, so once you hit that magical level 305, you'll have access to heroic dungeons. At that point, you can start gaining equipment that is level 325 or higher. Again, this is based on the chance that you might get loot. There's a good chance you might go into a dungeon and not get anything. So I would strongly recommend that you continue to do World Quest to pick up specific items that you know you're lacking item level on. Remember to continue using your WoW Companion app to target those items before you even start playing for the day. After you hit level 320, you'll be able to join the LFR version of Uldir, which is the newest raid here in Battle for Azeroth. The equipment that drops at Uldir is level 340. So if you're still lingering around 320, 325, this will give you a great boost on your item level. In addition to that, you'll also have access to Warfronts. Warfronts become available at level 320, and that's actually a recent change that Blizzard applied on the 11th of September. So that can change, like everything here in World of Warcraft can change from day to day. But as of right now, you have access to Warfronts, which will allow you to gain equipment 345. And you'll get a chance to earn one piece of equipment at 370 every time that it resets. Just based on previous experience, I can tell you that the 345 piece can be earned every time you complete it. Sometimes you'll get a repeat, sometimes you will get a new piece. It is time consuming. Last few Warfronts that I've done take anywhere between 20, sometimes to up to 40-45 minutes. So once again, if you're tight on time, make sure that you factor that into the equation. I would definitely leave raiding for a day where you have a couple, maybe 3 hours to complete the raid. On the LFR versions right now that is brand new, it can take a little bit of time, but as people get accustomed to the mechanics, it's going to start getting easier and easier, and you should be able to complete it a lot faster. After you hit that nice 325 or 330 level, it's probably time for you to start exploring the possibilities of doing Mythic Dungeons. Mythic Dungeons allow you to start earning equipment at 340 or higher. So at this point, you have Warfronts giving you 345 equipment, LFR giving you 340 equipment, and Mythic Dungeons giving you 340 equipment as well. As soon as you pass those levels, you can start exploring the ability to do normal raiding, which basically gives you 355 equipment. Heroic raiding gives you 370 equipment. And finally, Mythic raiding, which just recently opened this week, gives you item level 385 plus. My suggestion is to continue doing World Quest. Every once in a while, throw in a dungeon, a heroic dungeon, or a mythic dungeon, depending on where you're sitting with your item level. And if you started raiding, I would strongly suggest you pick up your Seal of War-Torn Fate. You can either spend gold, honor, or war resources to acquire this. You can pick up a total of 2 of them, and the price will increase or decrease depending on how many of those you've picked up for the week. If you notice right now, the first one cost me 2,000 gold. If I try to pick up another one, 4 gold is going to cost me 5,000. So be aware that there is a high cost when you try to pick up a couple of them. If possible, I would try to distribute between honor and gold if you're doing PvP, or war resources if you have war resources. As soon as I got the second one, as you can see, I'm not able to get any more, but now I got the 2 for the week. Make sure that you do your research when you're using these 2 seals. Make sure that you use this accordingly. You'll only be able to re-roll twice. One thing to also make sure that you pick up if you're already doing mythic dungeons is the Emissary of War quest that is going to be in your main city capital. It will allow you to pick up a Heroic Older Treasure and some Azeroth in there as well. You need to complete a total of 4 dungeons in mythic difficulty for you to be able to earn this. Another thing that I want to make sure that you're aware that you can get equipment from is from your reputation vendors. Every reputation vendor will have 3 pieces of equipment that they can sell to you for gold. It varies depending on the reputation you have with each one of them. At Honor, you get a 320 piece. At Revere, you get a 335 piece. And at Exalted, you get a level 350 piece. In addition to that, make sure that you complete your Champions of Azeroth daily quest. Champions of Azeroth reputation allows you to gain access to level 355 armor. So make sure you visit that vendor and you complete as many quests as possible on a day-to-day basis. That is going to be it as far as this video is concerned. I hope that you gained some knowledge from this. Again, if it was me and I had very limited amount of time, which that's my case right now, I would attempt to complete as many world quests as possible to upgrade specific items. From there, it's kind of a free-for-all. You can attempt to do dungeons, you can attempt to do heroic dungeons, you can go in on Warfront. I know at the beginning when you're thinking, oh goodness, I have to do world quests almost every day, it becomes a little bit grindy. But once you start reaching those 305 levels and higher, it brings you a lot more possibilities for you to go out and do. Also, do your research. Make sure that you know what piece of equipment drops in what dungeon. Make sure you know when to use your seals. I'm going to be making guides for loot per dungeon. So look forward to that on the future if you're looking for a specific piece. The way I'm going to break them down is going to be per equipment piece. So for example, if you're a leather wearer, a cloth wearer, a plate, or a mail wearer, you should be able to kind of go in and dissect it and be able to see exactly where you need to go to get your next piece and improve your item level. Again, that is going to be it for this video, guys. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. I do plan on doing all of these guides so that you can get a better idea exactly where you need to go for you to increase your item level. And as things change on the World of Warcraft for Battle for Azeroth, I will definitely continue doing updates for anything that Blizzard changes from one day to the other, just like the Warfront's minimum item level requirement that just kicked in this week. So keep an eye on the channel for more content. This is Dwarfin87 signing off. See you on the next video.